Hello, everybody. So, you probably saw the title, and you're expecting me to be absolutely ruthless about this show, and I'm sorry to disappoint. I'm not going to do that. I am going to heavily criticize a lot of aspects about it. However, I do want to save some positivity for the end, because I do think that the show kind of begins to take off the ground close to the end, but overall, Ironheart sucks. The first episode is absolutely terrible. It opens up with Riri Williams, our protagonist, establishing herself as the absolutely most unlikable character that we have ever seen since Captain Marvel herself. Which is impressive, because Brie Larson went on a tour to make sure nobody liked her, and then the character comes out, and the character is honestly just as unlikable as she is. And it's impressive. It's impressive, right? You've got three ways to be unlikable by people. You can be an asshole. You can blame all of your failings on something other than yourself, and you can be stuck up. Somehow, Riri Williams does all three. And on top of that, she's not even that good. For a tech-based superhero, all she seems to be capable of doing is stealing other people's tech. That's it. That's all she does. There's not a single moment in the show where she does something with her own stuff. Everything she does is stolen. The suit, stolen from MIT, which, granted, she built that suit herself using MIT resources and probably schematics heavily based off of Iron Man's. Essentially everything being derivative of somebody else's, somebody much more talented than her, or at least their work. Not to mention, for 5 minutes in, she's getting expelled from MIT, losing all of her resources because she was cheating at exams and selling those cheated exams. How are we supposed to like this character? Now, I mean, we have similar characters before. For example, I recently watched Suits. Amazing show. Kind of falls off as soon as they take the main character out of it for some reason. But, it was an awesome show. You've got Mike Ross, who has this eidetic memory, and he can remember everything. And because of this, he's an amazing lawyer, just purely by virtue of his eidetic memory. And so, he uses it to become an amazing lawyer. He doesn't have, the credentials of a lawyer. He has never passed the bar. Why? Because when he was trying to get into college, he, sold a couple of cheated exams for money and got caught, and so he got expelled. Yeah. And then he goes on to become a lawyer. But the reason why Mike Ross is likable, whereas Riri is not, is because Mike Ross is on a crusade to use his abilities for the benefit of others. Riri, however, is really not even concerned about her close friends or family. She kinda just cares about legacy. And I don't even want to call it legacy, because she just wants to be famous. Above everything else, she wants to be famous. She doesn't want to help people. She doesn't want to make something that'll help anyone else. She says that her program that she's making, this AI that is going to need a mountain of vibranium, apparently. I don't even know how that would work. But she claims that this is meant to help people. Help would never be late ever again. Completely ridiculous, right? Except she doesn't really care about that, and it's shown throughout the show by her own words and the writing and how she's put into certain situations. It's all about ego. It's all about how she can stand out as special. But I've rambled on enough. Let's actually go over roughly how the show presents her and other characters, right? So I've already said that Riri is presented in the absolute worst way possible, but I'm going to actually look at my notes that I have here on my screen, and I'm just going to go over them, right? So within the first 5 minutes of the show, First 5 minutes of the show. Riri claims all of her failures are due to a lack of resources and says that Tony Stark's success is due to an abundance of these resources. Right. He only invented infinite energy in a cave with scraps, right? Everybody thinks about the Iron Man suit. That's not what he invented there, right? The Iron Man suit is just armor and guns. It's nothing special. What is special is the thing that powers the Iron Man suit, his heart, right? That's it. That's what's special. And by the way, even that was kind of invented almost by his dad. Like, he made most of the work there, and then it was Stark that finished the invention. Granted, he still did it in a cave in the Middle East under threat of death with scraps, but only because he was a billionaire, right? Afterwards, we get a shot of her selling the cheated exams for quick cash in order to fund her project, despite the fact that she apparently has free reign of MIT's resources with her own lab, assistants, like an entire science team dedicated to her resources. I'm assuming this was explained in Wakanda Forever, but I never watched it. The characters did not seem interesting. The plot did not seem interesting. I was not even the slightest bit interested in Namor being a completely rewritten character with Jury? Fucking T'Challa's sister as the main character. I wasn't the least bit interested, right? I wanted T'Challa back. Hell, they should have brought back MBJ, Michael B. Jordan, as Killmonger, said that he somehow survived and he's just been, living as a hermit there, or somebody saved his life, and then he comes back, redeems himself, he's Black Panther again, and he beats the shit out of Namor because Namor deserves to get his ass whooped every time he's on screen. Anytime that Namor is on screen and somebody isn't punching him, I'm pissed off, right? Let's carry on. Afterwards, we get a scene, still within 5 minutes, right? This is like at minute 3.5. We get a scene of a counselor, or maybe it's even the dean of admissions. It's never really explained who this person is, but she's very important. And she's explaining to Riri that her actions do in fact have consequences. It's revealed that Riri has been at this school for 4 years and somehow has not made any progress towards graduation, has made no progress at all towards her invention, has basically spent 4 years pissing directly into the wind trying to change the color of her skin for some reason. I don't know. I generally do not know how you spend 4 years with that many resources and accomplish nothing, and then still have the gall to say that you're as good or better than Tony Stark, who Marvel is really intent on pushing as the greatest superhero of all time, right? But she gets expelled, and I'm going to give you like 5 seconds, starting now, to think about what she does next. As soon as she's out of the dean's office, she begins to steal stuff. What kind of stereotypical ass behavior is this? I thought this was... What? Really? This... Really? 1 second after she gets expelled, she steals the suit. She's flying home, and they cut her student access, which, by the way, very incompetent. I feel like that should have been done before she was expelled. Like, as she's getting expelled, like, they're revoking her student access. I feel like that's the first thing that you get to doing, right? Whatever. After this, we switch to, frankly, the most LGBT-coded crew that has ever been made ever. We get a scene of them, like, breaking into a house. One of them uses what appears to be phosphorus to blow open a door that, frankly, could have been kicked in by somebody my size, 60 kilos, soaking wet, and goes, "I call it dragon's breath." Everyone else does too, dumbass. That's what that is called. That's called dragon's breath. Look it up. Retard. We've called that since before the 2000s. Whatever. None of the guards in this very up-class place that they're robbing, none of the guards have any guns. None of the guards have any real weapons. They just get manhandled by fucking Dumb and Dumber, these two sort of athletic-looking people and a guy with a knife. We also get introduced to Rampage, their techie, who is played by Eric Andre, who frankly is the only immediately likable person in this group. Unfortunately, they kill him off like 2 scenes after this, but whatever. Literally, he does not live through the first episode. This, whatever. By the way, all this happens before the Ironheart. All this happens before the Ironheart title. Iron. All of this happens before the Ironheart title shot, which I will admit, every single episode when they did the title shot, that shit was a vibe. The first episode, it was Riri just splattered on the cement. The crater that she made spells out Ironheart, and it was pretty fucking badass. I like that shit. I like that shit a lot. But anyway, she gets up, goes home, immediately starts treating her family like dog shit. Apparently, she sold the car that she and her stepdad had been working on the whole time that he was alive. Apparently, the stepdad and best friend got killed because of black on black violence, which every single negative stereotype of black people is in this show. If you are a racist, you will really like this show. I guarantee it. Regardless, she sold this car for money to put into the suit, which is stupid because apparently the suit wasn't even her major project. Her major project was the AI behind the suit. They didn't really know what they were doing with her project. They didn't really know what they were trying to push for, right? But whatever. Also, during her 4 years at MIT, apparently she didn't call home one singular time. Crazy fucking work, right? This isn't about oh, she hated her family. No, it's like she was traumatized, which I kind of get, but 4 years you don't call home once? 4 years your mother is trying to get a hold of you, trying to check up on you. You don't pick up the phone? 4 years? Really? Wow. Okay. Whatever. But, you see her kind of trying to figure out a way to keep working on the suit, which, by the way, this was pissing me off throughout the show, but they called it an iron suit, not an Iron Man suit. That kind of pissed me off because the suits are based off of Tony Stark's design, which is called the Iron Man suit. And yet everybody, including random people on the street, I would get it if it's Riri. If it's Riri calling it an iron suit because it's not an Iron Man suit, it's an iron suit. If it's Riri saying that, it makes sense, right? Because it's the character being an asshole. If it's random characters on the street saying, oh, hey, you got an iron suit there. Come on, dude. Now it's just the writers being disrespectful towards the character. And that's fucking retarded. Straight up, that's fucking retarded. Regardless, she's working on this, and then one of the members from the LGBT crew shows up, pays for the stuff that she's buying, feeds her a line about how she's better than everybody else and how she, is too important to just be left to work at a junkyard for cheap change to work on her suit. And she, gobbles it up, hook, line, and sinker. Gets lured into an elevator. She has to kind of disarm this bomb, which she does in apparently half the time of Rampage, to show that, yeah, she's actually really good at her job, just not, good enough for what she wants, I guess. And so she manages to escape. She earns the respect of this crew and goes back home. Then she tries to use her brain to, make the AI for the suit to work. Sleeps through it, turns off the lights for everybody in her building, which, kind of a dick move. Fairly certain you'd get in trouble for that. Regardless, she does this over the night, and then she gets the Natalie AI. Weird, kind of makes no sense. They outright state that, hey, in the second episode, they outright state that, hey, if you try to do this, you're just gonna fucking die. But she didn't. Nobody's explained why. It's just oh, freak accident, you somehow survived, don't do this again. I don't know. I feel like it should not be that difficult for a writer to come up with a reason for her to code an AI that looks and sounds like her dead best friend. That's just me saying. But that's just the first episode, right? The first episode is essentially 40 minutes of selling just how much of a dickhead Riri Williams is, just how unworthy of the title of hero she is. And then you get 2 episodes of her being a criminal. Straight up. Just anytime that Riri Williams is on screen, she's either committing a crime, being disrespectful towards her mom, or hanging out with criminals, or forcing other people to commit crimes in her name. Yeah, good character. This is the one. This is the one. I will be honest though. This is not that much different from her in the comic books. If you haven't seen it, like, go check them out. They're fucking terrible. But I genuinely believe that Riri could have been a likable character. If instead of having a character that is constantly just striving to kind of cheat and get ahead of everybody else because she feels like she deserves it, how about we just have a hardworking girl who really idolizes Iron Man and wants to be like him and thinks that she can do the same thing? And hey, I'm gonna make my own AI for my suit. And I'm gonna make an Iron Man suit out of car parts. And this one runs on renewable energy, wind and solar. Really cool, even though she charges it from the power line. I don't know, man. We are literally never shown the suit recovering energy through wind or solar power. She literally just hooks it to the wall and leaves it charging for the night. Not how that works. There's no way you generated enough power to do that. You need an arc reactor, which is the thing that made Tony Stark a billionaire. Before that, he was just a multimillionaire. Regardless, we are talking about one of the most unlikable characters that I've ever seen. This is not how you build a superhero. She wants to be bigger than everybody else. The show goes out of its way to show that she doesn't deserve it. And not just that, she doesn't deserve it because of her character, and she doesn't deserve it because of her lack of talent. She doesn't reach those heights. She's constantly dissing everybody else. She's constantly downplaying everybody's achievements and downplaying her own failures. It's like, this is the worst superhero I've ever seen. Worst. By far the worst. However, the action's okay. I didn't hate the CGI. I think it's really good that we're getting a mechanical Iron Man suit. The music choice is obnoxious to me, but apparently, the people that the show was made for enjoyed it. I'm assuming we're talking about, like, the most racist of racists here, because as I said, literally every stereotype of black people is present in the show, with no positive lights applied to it. No redeeming features whatsoever. There's no, oh, I'm doing it for my family. Like, the LGBT crew spends, like, we get, like, a 10-minute segment of them talking about what they're going to do with the money from their first heist with Ironheart in the crew, and it's literally just them going, oh yeah, I'm going to use it to commit more crime, I'm going to do a fight club, I'm going to do an orphanage, which is actually going to be a front for a bomb-making thing. I'm sorry, Riri, please take the suit, arrest all of these people. Begging you right now, please. But she won't. We get a neat fight scene. I think that it's really bad that we have yet to get a good fight scene. After 3 episodes, we don't get a fight scene with her using the suit to fight something. But instead, we get a fight of her running away from a trained guy with a knife, somehow not getting tagged a single time. Like, she gets tagged one time during the fight, like one cut. Really capable fighter with a knife somehow doesn't overpower a girl that is half his size. What? Really? This guy was manhandling, like, trained security with guns and shit. Like, and yeah, some of the trained security in the last episode had some guns, sub-guns, not like fully equipped, but they had some things. And it's really, really weird, really inconsistent, but we had some good CGI. The fights weren't great so far. We're still only 3 episodes in. There's going to be 3 more, so I'm going to make another video when that comes out, probably shitting on the show a little bit more, even though I am here stating that the show does have potential. It just needs to lose like 90% of the writers in the room and like keep just the 10% that are good at their job. Just keep those guys. Everybody else, just go home, write fanfic, go back to AO3 or whatever the fuck you guys do in your free time, and just leave this to the people who know what they're doing. But that's all I have to say about this show. I'll make another video when the rest of the show comes out, probably shitting on it more, like I said. But with all that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Like, subscribe. Cheers. Who the fuck was this show made for?